Hello and welcome to IGPP Expert Talks. I am Heena Goswami, editorial consultant with IGPP, Institute for Governance, Policies and Politics, New Delhi. January 22nd, 2024 is said to be a historic day for the nation as all gear up for the inauguration and Pran Pratishtha of the Ram Mandir in Ayodhya. As we look forward to this momentous occasion, today we reflect upon the journey that led us to this moment, the Ram Janmabhoomi Movement. And to tell us all about it, we have a close witness to the movement, Dr. Seshadri Chari. Dr. Chari is a politician, journalist, author, and strategic and foreign policy analyst. A Swayamsevak of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh (RSS), he was formerly also the editor of the organizer. Welcome to IGPP Expert Talk, sir. So, as the Ram Mandir is said to be inaugurated on January 22nd, what significance does it hold for modern day India and its place in the world order?
No, it's an event of great significance because Ram Mandir movement reflects a different kind of Hindu society from a very dormant and not so evocative society. Hindus have become assertive and now they are in a mood more united, and they are in a mood to reclaim the strategic steps, the space that had lost in our own country. This is the only country which is rightfully the country where they can claim to be their own. So this was necessary, and this is a kind of a cultural progression. This represents a cultural progression. And Ram is not just part of a religious entity. As a very well-known socialist, Dr. Ramano Lohia, he had suggested, in fact there is a small book by Ramano Lohia. The title of that book is Ram, Krishna or Shiv. So Dr. Lohia argues that Ram, Krishna or Shiv represent the ethos of India. What India is in essence, the philosophy of India, the outlook of India towards the world, the outlook of India towards morality, outlook of India towards philosophy, outlook of India towards the other people, everything that guides India's philosophical outlook is represented by these three figures, Ram, Shiv and Krishna. And if you see, exactly these three places of worship have been vandalized, attacked by invaders because they know the real life of India, the soul of India is in these three places. So getting the places back and resurrection of these three places is as important as it was in the case of Somnath Temple in 1947. So that is the significance, and this shows the place, the rightful place that India is all set to occupy in the Committee of Nations as far as the world order is concerned. The world order is changing, and in this changing world order, a country like India has a place of its own because of its own strength and all its achievements. So in that, a Ram Mandir is one of the points of achievements and one of the points of our cultural culmination of our unity and strength. That is the significance.
To look back at how the Ram Janmabhoomi movement commenced, it was in 1984 that it was first launched, right? So, was it the first time though that the demand to build the temple of Lord Ram at his birthplace, or had there been earlier demands as well?
No, there have been earlier demands also. See, there have been demands even in the Privy Council. Even during the British time, the conflict for regaining Ayodhya was always there. There have been negotiations, there have been conflicts, there have been wars, there have been sacrifices from time to time. So this has happened. It's not the first time. But again, see, there was a very different kind of a political situation in the country after 70. 70 was a very tumultuous year and very significant from India's point of view as far as geopolitical concerns are there. And 71 was a very great year in the sense 71 was a year when Bangladesh was liberated and the back of Pakistan was broken and this two-nation theory was nailed once and for all. So 71 became a very important aspect. But unfortunately the political events took a very different course, and in 1971 there was emergency. So emergency, there was not much could be done. The only thing that could be done during emergency was fight against emergency, and that is where the RSS was in the forefront of fight against emergency. The RSS had at that time there was a ban on RSS. Many top leaders of RSS were in jail, but we had what we call the Lok Sangharsha Samiti. So this Lok Sangharsha Samiti was fighting against emergency, and finally in 1978 the emergency was lifted. The ban on RSS was also lifted unconditionally. But unfortunately in 1979 again in the elections the Janata Party lost and all that. And then so many other things happened. This is not the forum to go into those details. In 1980 the Bharatiya Janasangh was formed. So at that time we started thinking, the RSS started thinking in terms of creating an awareness on certain issues. The most important issue at that time to create awareness was these three temples. Mainly, what Lohiyaji I said as Ram, Krishna or Shiv. So the places of worship of Ram, Krishna and Shiv should be free from all kinds of encroachments. And incidentally, these three places, the original temples were destroyed and a masjid was constructed. So it has to be reclaimed. It was nobody's intention that the masjid should be destroyed, but through negotiations we should be able to reclaim these three places. That was the idea. So in 1980 the RSS started thinking in terms of creating awareness. The first meeting I remember, in fact, very incidentally, I was a pracharak of RSS in Mumbai at that time, and this first meeting took place in 1982. It was addressed by Moropan Pingle at that time. Moropan ji was a very senior pracharak of the RSS. So he said, this is what we have to do. We have to create awareness on these things, and that is why there was a sort of a forum was created, a platform was created called Janmastan Mukti Sangharsha Samiti. It was not Ram Janmabhoomi Mukti Sangharsha Samiti, it was Janmastan, which means all three were included. Although Kashi is not the Janmastan of Shivji, but Kashi was also included. So these three places should be liberated first. They should be handed over back to the Hindus. That was the whole idea. And this awareness had to be created. So 1982, the first meeting took place in Mumbai, and then so many other forums were created, and then there were a series of events, Bharat Mata, Ganga Mata Yatra, and then bricks were collected, and then Ram Pujan in every village, and then collecting water from every pond and taking it back to Ganga, and Ganga water for every village, all these things, so that this awareness was created. So this awareness is what gave rise to this kind of a movement. Ultimately, these three places of worship should be reclaimed, but Ram Janmabhoomi had a number of cases pending in the Supreme Court and local High Court and all that. So the concentration was on Ram Mandir.
So you have been a close witness to the movement, and it was in 1990 that the Rath Yatra was also launched under the leadership of Sri
Correct.
Lal Krishna Advani ji. Do you think that was a turning point in not just the Janmabhoomi movement, but also in the political and cultural discourse of the nation? Also, do share a little experience of the yatra and what were the aspirations of the leaders that the yatra began with, and did it evolve as the yatra progressed?
You see, Rath Yatra was part of, as I said, there was a series of programs for awakening, Hindu awakening basically. So Rath Yatra was one such program. But I think that time the idea that came up was who should lead the Rath Yatra. Actually, now I don't know if it's not a question of revealing something, but basically there was also at that time there was also a move to request Atal Bihari Vajpayee to lead the Rath Yatra. But Vajpayee ji said he was, health-wise and reluctant. He was a little reluctant. And then I think it was a good idea that Vajpayee suggested that a person like Lal Krishna Advani ji should do it. So now Vajpayee was a great speaker, so probably we thought a good speaker, a good orator would probably do a better job. But then I think in hindsight it was a great thing that Advani ji undertook it. It was a difficult yatra actually. It started from Somnath because we wanted to remind the people that the way Somnath was negotiated settlement, in similar manner, like Somnath was rebuilt during Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel's time by the efforts of Kulpati Munshi at that time. And Somnath was the reconstructed Somnath temple. The Pran Pratishtha and event was done by none other than the President of India at that time, Babu Rajendra Prasad. And Babu Rajendra Prasad in his speech said कि 1000 वर्षों का कलंक हम आज मिट गया. The black spot that was existing for almost 1000 years has been erased now, he said in that time. So a similar kind of a situation, a similar kind of an awareness has to be created. That was the idea basically. Otherwise, that will build up a kind of narrative in the country that all that Hindus are asking for is just 3 temples back: Kashi, Mathura and Ayodhya. These 3 are the sacrosanct, most sacrosanct for the Hindu society, as they represent Ram, Krishna or Shiva. So only these 3 will give us back. This is the only demand, and this is the kind of awareness that we wanted to create. And that awareness was created sufficient to a very large extent by this Rath Yatra. It was very unfortunate. I still feel that the political intervention should not have taken place, and if this Rath Yatra should have been allowed to go to Ayodhya, and a point would have been made. Very unfortunately, it was not made, and whatever happened on the 6th December 1992 in Ayodhya was because of political intolerance of this Hindu society at that time.
So, as you say, it was an unfortunate event, and that it has been one of the controversial aspects of the whole Ram Janmabhoomi movement that the Babri Masjid was demolished. And I want to quote an acclaimed historian who writes in a book that I recall being specially struck by one news story in which a reporter interviewed Hindu nationalist supporters outside a row of burning shacks while a mob danced around the camera crew shouting this slogan: Babar ki Santan, Jao Pakistan ya Kabristan. Do you think the sense of vulnerability and alienation that many feel that the Muslim population of India felt after the demolition of the Babri Masjid, was it justified? And do you think that we as a nation have been able to overcome that sentiment today?
See, this was not the sentiment of Hindu society. Yes, the mood was very different on 6th December 1992, and those who were part of the Ram Janmabhoomi movement Like at that time, even RSS, Sarsang Chalak, Raju Bhaiya and other people were part of it. So, in fact, Raju Bhaiya, the RSS approached the then Prime Minister, Mr. Narasimha Rao, and requested him that the operative part of the judgment, which actually allowed car seva to be performed in the 2.44 square meter area, should be allowed officially. The car sevaks are there and they have come to do puja and show their unity and awareness. They will do puja and go back. Very unfortunately, the judgment was reserved but not pronounced. So we only wanted the operative part of the judgment to be pronounced. Very unfortunately, the operative part of judgment was pronounced on 10th December, which actually allowed the puja to be conducted. Had it been given on 6th or 4th, as it was supposed to be given, probably there would have been a negotiated settlement, but probably the people would have waited for the court to come out with a decision, which ultimately went in favor of the Hindu society. It could have happened. But when the patience of the Hindu society, the car sevaks who had come there with great enthusiasm, was tested, and it went beyond their patience. This is what happened. I still remember I had interviewed Advaniji at that time for Organizer. I was the editor of Organizer at that time. And I had participated in car seva in 90 and 91. In 92, since I was the editor, I was only looking after the reporting part of it. So Advaniji, when we went and met him and we asked him also, Advaniji made a very interesting sentence. He said, we wanted the dilapidated structure to go, but not in this manner. So we wanted a negotiated settlement. We wanted to take the whole society together. If that was done, probably this kind of slogans and this kind of things would not have probably arisen at all. But actually what had happened was, there is nothing to blame the Muslim community as such, but it was only the politicization of the entire process that brought it to this kind of a situation. And in fact, even in there, Advaniji said, when somebody asked him that why the political support to Ram Janmabhoomi Movement, so Advaniji said, the political support for Ram Janmabhoomi is necessitated because of political opposition to Ram Janmabhoomi. The moment you politically oppose, there has to be another political force to oppose that opposition. And that is why the BJP took it upon itself as a political support to the movement. If politics was kept out of this Ram Janmabhoomi movement, probably there would have been a negotiated settlement. Even before 1992, there have been a number of attempts where many people, including Shankaracharyas, I personally know about the former Shankaracharya of Kanchi, the Kamkoti Peetham, Jayendra Saraswati Swamiji. He himself conducted meetings with Muslim representatives, and there was almost a negotiated settlement. And ultimately what the court has done, court has also done a negotiated settlement, giving Ram Janmabhoomi to Hindu society and letting the Muslim community have a masjid elsewhere. That's what they have also done. This was the proposal that was given to the Muslim community and even Babri Masjid Action Committee for a long time. That is why our contention was, there is nothing called Babri Masjid. Even religiously speaking, the core of Islam does not permit any masjid to be named after any individual. It's basically wrong. That was the whole idea. So we only said that Muslims can have a masjid anywhere in the world, anywhere in India. But Ram Janmabhoomi has a great religious and social, philosophical and spiritual significance to Hindus. That was the claim. And if there was no political political intervention. And had the government behaved well at that time, probably the structure would have gone, but not in this manner.
Many are calling the upcoming inauguration also a political movement more than one of faith or religion. You are a foreign policy analyst, and both at a global level and at a local level, how we perceive the interrelationship of faith and politics. Has it evolved since the time of Ram Janmabhoomi movement, and is it better or worse now?
No, faith and religion do not have place in politics, basically. But politics without religion or faith is also not correct. Politics has to have a basis. See, even in the Western world, politics as such or governance has a set of rules and regulations, certain rules of moralities and ethics. And because these ethics, somewhere or the other, correlate with the ethics of the church, so they follow those ethics. There are rules and regulations in Italy which do not really correlate with the rules and regulations of the Vatican. There are differences of opinion between the Italian government and the Vatican government, which is itself within Italy, but a different separate country. But there are countries which follow the codes and ethics of the church. Similarly, but they are secular governments. We are also a secular government. And Hindus, nobody should teach secularism to Hindus. In fact, Hinduism is the essence of secularism in the real sense of the word. Secularism does not mean sarva dharma samabhav. All religions are one or equal. Secularism is that government should respect all modes of worship. Sarva pantha samadhar is actually real secularism. Anyway, the word secularism did not evolve from this point of view. Its evolution is very different. We have adopted it in a very wrong manner. That's a different story. It's a different subject altogether, which can be discussed separately. But politics has to have certain codes, certain moral, ethical principles, certain ethics on which politics should run. And if these ethics are also part of the ethics of religion, there is nothing wrong. Basically, we don't have what we call religious ethics. We have what we call dharmic ethics. Our dharma itself means dharana. Dharana is ethics, how a society should be run on the basis of dharana. Dharmo dharayati iti dharma. So dharana dharma mityahu. Dharma is dharana. That is why there have been religious and social reformers who have from time to time brought the society back on dharana. That is why there is a Hindi word sudharana vadi. Sudharana and kudharana. When the dharana becomes not relevant to the present society, somebody has to change it. So these people have come and changed. So there has to be certain moral, ethical policies that governs politics. But we confuse between dharma, dharana and religion. Dharma is not religion. Therefore, those who say that religion has no place in politics are right from the point of view of the word religion. But politics without dharma, politics without ethics, politics without morality is also equally bad. Therefore, politics has to have the parameters of dharana or dharma. That is why it is called dharma rajya. So we should work in those lines.
So, as you mentioned that when the movement first started, the movement was against the encroachment of three temples. One is the birthplace of Lord Ram, another is the birthplace of Lord Krishna, and third is the Lord Shiva's temple in Kashi. So, was the Ram Janmabhoomi movement first and last of its kind, or would we at a future date see movement to reclaim Lord Krishna's birthplace or Lord Shiva's temple?
See, as I said, this whole idea was Janmastan Mukti Sangarsha Samiti. So, the essence of Hinduism or the basic philosophical outlook rests on these 3 points of confluence. And these are what they call as centers of representations of Hindu philosophy, Hindu thought, Hindu culture, everything that has association with Hindutva. So, they are what in Hindi what is called Astha ke Sthan, Ayodhya, Mathura and Kashi. And that is why the invaders chose these 3 places. They did not go to any other temple. For them, if they had to construct a temple or a mosque, destroy a temple and construct a mosque, they could have done it anywhere else. But they chose these 3 because they knew very well that these are the Astha Kendra. So we want these 3 to be totally in the hands of Hindus, and the ideas or the structure left behind by the invaders should not be there. That is the idea. Therefore, the Janmastan Mukti Sangarsha Samiti basically demands only these 3 places. And I think after Ayodhya, there is a mode within a different kind of a mode among various sections of the society and also the government and also those who are party to the litigation, that there should be a negotiated settlement as far as the other 2 is concerned. I think it should happen.
Thank you so much for joining us today and giving us valuable insights into the Ram Janmabhoomi movement. And we all look forward to the inauguration on the 22nd. Thank you, sir.
Namaste.